channel. My name is Taylor if you're new here. So this is the first episode of PJs and Perspective, and I'm so excited. So this topic today is very sensitive, but I feel like it's not talked about enough. And I got some people here that I felt like would be perfect and to discuss this topic and to share their stories. So I'm gonna let them introduce themselves and tell you who they are to me, and just share a little bit about their story.
Okay, so my name is Stacy Smith, and I am. Okay, Taylor, how you want to explain this?
Okay, so I call her Aunt Stacy, so that's what y'all want to hear me say, Aunt Stacy. But go ahead.
I am Taylor's dad's ex-wife.
Right.
Isaiah, which is
My oldest brother.
mom.
Yeah. Okay, so you can go now.
Oh, well, I'm Audrey McCarter Hedgepeth, and I'm Taylor's auntie.
Yes.
Her
This
dad
is my dad's
is
sister.
my brother.
My name is Rebecca, and me and Taylor met through my husband's cousin.
Right? Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So my boyfriend is her husband's cousin. So okay. So Aunt Stacy, you and my dad got married in what year?
1980 something.
How many years were y'all together before y'all had Isaiah? Isaiah was born in 91.
Right.
So how long were y'all married?
4 years.
4 years?
I think we were married 4
Oh, I
years.
thought it was shorter than that, honestly. Oh, that's okay.
Yes,
You don't remember? Okay, so you got married in like 80 something. Okay.
Yeah, Isaiah was born in 91. We were together a year before I got pregnant. So
Okay.
that was.
So 89, 90-ish.
Yeah.
When did you get married? To
Oh,
your
right.
first husband.
My ex.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I married Steve in 1981. I think it was like 81.
Okay. How old were you then? Oh wait, you don't want to tell your age.
20.
You don't have to.
Oh yeah, I'm 63.
Okay.
I have no problem telling people.
Period.
But when I married Steve, I was probably about 24. I think I'm about 24. Yeah. Yeah, I think. I'm doing the math. You probably should have asked me that earlier.
Okay.
Do the math. 58, 81. Y'all do
How old
the
is
math.
Quiz? Quiz is
Quez is 35.
that's her son, her one and only son.
Yeah.
35.
Mhm.
So you had, how long were y'all married before you had him? Or you had-
About 5 years. I had Quez when I was 27.
Oh.
So
Okay.
anyway.
So Beth, when did you get married?
I got married 2018,
Mhm.
February 2018, and we separated. We've been separated since February 3rd of 2020. We in
Okay.
2020, yeah.
Okay. When did you know you were done, and what was the last straw?
Well, I mean, I was married for almost 7 years before I decided that I was going to leave. I could have left after the second year, but my dad, I'm telling you, he didn't believe in divorce at all. I was so pulpit girl, you know. I just always thought he wanted to make me the model for the pulpit, so I wouldn't do anything to break that. And then after a while, I got just kind of tired of it, you know, because I'd always call home and cry and say, you know, I can't do this any longer. Steve and I really aren't working out. But Dad was really not about divorce. He's old school, so he wasn't about being that thing divorcing. He just, you know, old school believed that you stay married forever.
Yeah.
But when I finally knew that I was done, I said it like every year after the second year, I'm leaving. I'm leaving. You don't really want me. I'm a good girl. You know, I want this. We had gone through a lot. And But I can tell people I don't blame it on one person. So I say
Honestly, that was another question in here.
It takes two to tango.
It says we can always spot out, point out what the other person did wrong, but where did you go wrong to cause the divorce?
Yeah. So like for me, I never blamed Steve only. It was part of my fault too, because the Bible simply tells you that when you leave for your mother and father and cleave, it says to your wife, but that means to your husband, the two shall become one flesh. But I never left home. So I didn't leave home even after I married Steve. I went home every weekend. Every weekend I went home. And for the first year, he did that with me. So he knew exactly what I wanted. And then I think he was just kind of doing that because his best friend was like, Steve's not going to keep doing that. I was like, yeah, he is. He loves me. And he was like, I'm telling you, Audrey, he's not. But at the end of the day, he did that for about the first year, and then going into the second year, he stopped doing that. But I kept going home. So I left him unattended every weekend. Every weekend I was in Rocky Mount at church.
Yeah.
So part of it was my fault.
Okay, I can understand that. So where you want to go?
I knew I was done, and when I broke mentally, when I just mentally I was done.
Right.
I couldn't take anymore. I was in a place. I dealt with depression for about 2 years, but I was just in a place where I had never been before, and I was just like, enough is enough. I gotta go. And he left the home first, but when he left, I just looked at everything and was just like, enough is enough at this point. So that's when I knew.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Like me and Tiff, we had gone through a whole lot of different things, and we weren't getting along, that type thing. Just go through, get along, not get along, go through, get along, not get along, crazy stuff like that. So I was like, gotta go. This isn't healthy for me, Isaiah, Tiff, whatever. So when I left, I think Isaiah had chicken pox or something, so one of us had to stay home. I stayed home. But while Tiff was pastoring, he went and preached that day, I was packing. So when he got home, I was gone. And that's how I left.
Wow. Yeah. And Stacey, I know that my dad isn't your only past husband. So talk about that. Would you marry again?
Yeah, I'll marry one more time.
One more time? How many times have you been married?
And when I say this, when I call myself Blanche, people laugh. Remember Golden Girls? Blanche Devereaux been married. It's just so extra.
Everybody has their own
right.
story.
That's
Blanche has been married 3 times. I've been married 3 times.
Okay.
And a lot of times people say, well, if you this, you're the common denominator. Stacey, what was wrong with you? It won't always be now. And then there's one. We'll just call them 1, 2, 3. Tiff, 2, and 3. Okay, number 3. We're friends, but he still want to get back with me, and I'm like, no, bro.
You know how that went.
Right, and he tells me that I told a girlfriend that I was dating how you this and blah blah, and how if you would ever, I said, bro, you ain't gonna get no another woman talking about me.
Right.
I said, stop that.
Right.
Because we're done.
Right. Would you marry again?
I'm fresh in the game, so right now, no.
Yeah. Would you? So Auntie is married. So how long have you been married to Uncle Chuck? Because that's my uncle. I don't know the other man. Well, may he rest in peace. But I don't know the other man. But her husband is my uncle.
February will be 29 wonderful, awesome, amazing, glorious years.
Yeah. So like I said, that's my uncle.
Yeah.
I'm 23. I was 24 in March. He's all I know. So
yeah. So 29 years in February. So so I can talk about marriage from several perspectives. So from the divorced to remarried and love it.
Right.
I love marriage, and I've always wanted to be married. So even when I was married to Steve, I wanted to be married. So I like marriage a lot. I don't think I ever want to be by myself.
Right. Maybe one day.
That's right.
So if kids are involved, how do you feel about dating? You don't have children yet, so
I don't think any of us do. Her baby,
Yeah.
I mean, well, but even when y'all still went through that when you were dating and you know were in your divorce and after your divorce, like I couldn't imagine. Like my first thought with me having Braylon, if I were to start dating somebody else, is like I gotta build trust with somebody else with my baby. You know what I'm saying? So like, what is that process like? Because it seems like it's hard. It sounds hard to me.
It is, and like with visitation when you're divorced, I pretty much try to do all my dating or whatever when Isaiah was on visitation.
Right. So they went through the whole court process and had like a set schedule and everything. So.
Exactly.
that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. That was good.
Yeah.
I think that's smart.
Yeah, it is. That makes it a little easier to, you know, keep the feelings on safety, you know, like, so you don't have to worry about, don't have your child around such and such or anything like that, you know. So, I mean, it seems a little easier. How was it for you?
Oh, well, now, yeah, that was easy.
Well, Uncle Chuck was best friends with my dad.
Hush, don't be telling all the
Oh,
business.
okay. He was best friends with my daddy, so she was around him anyway. She was going to run upstairs and hide when he came over. Yeah.
That's funny. No, but that's true. They were all my brothers, Sheldon and Tiff, and my husband Chuck were all friends. So yeah, he would come to the house and I'd run upstairs because I'd just be looking any kind of way. But then I'd run upstairs and my brother Tiff would say, "Why you running upstairs? Well, I ain't looking at you with your ugly self."
That's my daddy. That's what he would say now.
Yeah, that's really. I mean, he would always say, "Man, I can't study you, your ugly self, girl. You ain't got to run up those steps and stuff." But little did he know that the Lord was going to bless me with him. So it was different. And so with Marquez, it was easy to have him around Chuck. He was always at the house anyway.
Right.
He was always around my parents. Everybody loved him.
Yeah.
We could trust him.
He was already in our family.
Right.
Pretty much.
Right.
Was.
Yeah.
He was always there. And Quez, he loved him. I'll never forget the day that he called him dad. We never told him to do that. We never recorded.
I know that was emotional. Catch you off guard.
It was. Everyone was at the house, and Alana said to my brother Sheldon, she said, "That's my dad," and I'll never forget. Quez said, "That's my dad," and I was like, "What?" That was just that was so amazing,
Right.
Because he,
especially for a boy and a man, those type of relationships can be harder when trying to bond two men together.
yeah.
Because how old was Quez when you married Uncle Chuck?
He was in kindergarten.
Oh yeah, and they kindergartners, I work with them personally. They're very opinionated.
Yeah.
Very opinionated. They are gonna say, "Why your hair look like that?" Like they are that type. So I understand. It was probably so. Babe, tell us a little bit about what went through your head mentally going through all of this. So I know you said your divorce isn't final.
No.
So you're still dealing with this. Like it's really fresh to you, and tell us a little bit more about your experience with this.
For me, and let me just say, because you'll probably see it. We're friends. We're good.
That's good.
We don't hate each other. It's
Yeah.
not a bad
That's
place.
great.
But for myself, I just realized that I tried it. I did what I was supposed to do, and it just didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And it was hard because we've been together for 7 years.
Yeah, I knew when I met y'all were together for a while.
So we got together. I was 22, and I'm 29 now. So we were together for a while. So that's all I've known for these last almost 10 years. So, but my process, now I'm gonna be real, it ain't been easy. It hasn't been easy. The first, I'll say 6 to 7 months, I really fought mentally, because I didn't understand. Like, I didn't understand. Like, if I was the girl that never thought I was gonna get married anyways.
Wow.
So for me to get married, everyone knew that was like big for Beck to be getting married. Oh, she's really into this. So, but during this whole process, like at first I was just like, why God? Like, why me? And I heard God so clear, and it was just like, why not?
Right.
And I remember because I'm a praise and worship leader at my dad's church, and I remember one Sunday, it was December of 2018, and around this time we were already battling. We started battling. We got married in February. We started battling in June. So around December, I was doing praise and worship, and I was ministering to everybody, and I just heard God say to me, he was like, you're going through all of this so that when the next woman or the next man that you run to and is going through the same situation, you can show them Jesus. And that stuck with me. And so just during this whole process, I stopped asking why, and I just asked God, just show me. I don't even want to look at what he did wrong, where he messed up, just where did I mess up? And I messed up. I did.
Right.
And there's a lot of things that I could have fought harder on in our marriage, and but my hands were just, because we dealt with things in our dating relationship that we never dealt with.
Right.
So it just, a lot of stuff just spilled over into the marriage, and
so that's something that I actually wonder, because I've seen people get married and get divorced or separate within the same year. So I'm like, is that stuff that they didn't address in the dating part?
Like me, I can definitely speak. There were things that just never, they were addressed but not dealt with,
right?
Not got to the root,
right?
Because me and him, we both said to each other, I know a lot of my anger and frustration comes from childhood things that have just never been dealt with. But I think for me, as far as just deciding, this is what I feel is best for myself, is I'm just like, it's just been too much damage for me. And some people I talk to, they're like, well, people been through worse stuff than that. It was just toxic. And it's just, I'm big on words.
Affirmation.
Yeah, I'm big on words. So that saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words never hurt me, that's the biggest.
It is.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I've ever heard, because words cut, for me, cut really.
So how do you communicate effectively after a divorce?
It's very difficult when someone doesn't want to communicate with you, but it's necessary, and that's what a lot of people don't know. They don't realize that, especially when children are involved, it's really necessary for you to have the communication. But if someone doesn't want to communicate with you, then it's nothing you can do. So like with Steve, he kind of shut down from us, and he didn't come around. So Marquez didn't see his dad for years. I mean, years. And before he passed this year, my son still hadn't seen his dad. So Quest hasn't seen Steve. I probably can, I didn't want to say I can count the number of times, but I don't know. I think when I left, Steve realized that I should have never let her go. Because me,
I feel like
I just wouldn't. I mean, before I divorced Steve, I had a very difficult time trying to say I'm going to divorce someone. I read books. I had to make sure that God wasn't going to,
Punish you.
and that
Yeah.
I wouldn't make it into heaven or something. Because
See,
you
but
know,
that comes
back
with the
then,
traditions
the
from back
traditions
then.
of teaching.
Yeah.
But I read books, so
Mhm.
what I found out was God hates divorce, because I don't think people talk about that. And according to what God hates is, God hates divorce because to me, and this is my revelation and what I've told people, is divorce to me is sin. God hates sin. So he hates divorce because that's not the will of God. It's for people to get married and get divorced. That's not what the vows don't even say that. But what I found out was that he hates divorce, but he doesn't hate me.
Right.
And so when I got to a point where I realized that he hates sin,
Right.
but he wasn't going to hate me,
Right.
it was the process of leaving was a little bit better. Because I probably would have still been there if I didn't get that revelation. If I didn't get the revelation that, if I never got that revelation that God was going to still love me, I probably would have never ever left.
Right.
So that's one of the things you have to tell people. So now when I talk and when I teach and when I'm in counseling with people, we talk about all of that. You know, the real thing is you don't want to get married and get a divorce. Nobody wants to get married.
Yeah, no.
Nobody wants to do that.
That's not the. You
Yeah,
never
like
get married to get a
I told
divorce.
him one day, I said, I did not let my parents spend all this money.
No wedding. Because they had a wedding at the Grand Marquis.
Oh,
Yeah.
In Garner.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's everybody.
With the
like,
huge stairs.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, I did not
Wow.
to be done in a year. Like,
Right.
I didn't plan that. When I walked down the aisle, it was forever for me. So I never planned that. But just like how you were saying, just piggyback on some things you were saying, like how people would view you with
Oh, yeah.
divorce and just being a PK and
Mhm. Oh yes.
oh my God, like I just thought, and which I'm so thankful because I have such a loving church, but they were so, they understood, but just being a PK and just how this image of you're just supposed to be perfect, right? And you don't make mistakes and you're supposed to be holier than thou.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, that's
That's
not
what kept me there for
realistic.
7 years.
Right, and that's what kept me in a lot of things
Right.
until 2020. I got free from that stuff.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
like, me and my sister, we vent to each other all the time.
Yeah.
It's like, just because my parents are pastors, that their journey does not have to have
Yeah.
anything to do with mine.
Right.
Yeah.
Actually, her husband he was playing for your dad,
Yeah,
right?
he's a minister.
Yeah, he was a minister of music there at the church too. So, y'all were working together as well. So, how did that actually affect y'all? Like, did that?
Of course, and that was in my process. I'm like, oh, I'm leaving now. We don't have no keyboard player, but it's my fault. All that
Yeah.
was going through my head even before I left. Even when I was thinking about leaving and just like, well, maybe I should stay. And then I'm like, that's dumb. Like, why would you stay for somebody to play? Like, it's stupid. So, but it affected us, but didn't affect us because COVID.
Yeah.
So
It was like a time.
We had to find like 3 musicians to play for a few Sundays, so
Yeah.
it wasn't that bad. We didn't really miss a beat because I left in February, March we shut down. So,
Right. So didn't you all move? Did you move out of state?
Yes, we moved. So a lot of people don't know. So we got married in February of 2018. In April of 2019, I left. And I was just I was done, and I was just like, yeah, no, this ain't it. And so then I left the house. I went back to my parents, and just trying to find guidance, like what, because I wasn't for sure about divorce. I just knew we could not live in the same household. And so I went home, and I felt done, but divorce just could not come out my mouth.
Right.
And so I stayed. That was April, May, June, July. Let me see. Probably about 2 months, my parents, we were just talking one night, and they told me that God laid on their heart to move to Maryland to plant a church. And I was just like, really? And I was like, well, I'm out. I was like, you start, let's go. So I was all for it. And literally, I'll say once Mars, God had been dealing with him about moving. And one day I don't know if he called me or called my sister. I can't remember, but basically he had said God was dealing with him about moving and all this stuff. So I'm like,
Yeah, and
he didn't know anything about my parents. So I'm like,
yeah,
maybe I'm like, we gotta try this again. Like I gotta go for this one. I gotta give it one more shot. And so I'll never forget. My dad called him over, and we all sat outside, and he was like, Mars, and this I had decided, I want to try to work it out. And I think I told him. I don't know. Did I tell him? I don't know. He probably found out all this in the same day. But my dad was just like, we're moving to Maryland. We want to plant a church there, and you guys are welcome to come. And he was so excited. He was literally about to cry. And we were just like, okay, it's going to be a fresh start.
Yeah.
I didn't even move back into the apartment because I was like, I don't even want to go back there. Just so much stuff had happened. I was like, I'll just stay here until we leave. And so we left in June. I can honestly say when we got there, I did not put 100% to our marriage. And it just wasn't, something just was not sitting right with me. And a lot of it, was with my depression and anxiety. It was just a lot going that I was really trying to focus on myself.
Right.
But I needed to focus on myself in marriage. And honestly, looking back, just seeing hindsight, I'm like, maybe he should have stayed in North Carolina, and I went, and just so I could just really work on me. But it was just a lot, and I really didn't put I put forth the effort, but I didn't. I knew I could have did. I could have did more.
Well, I think that's very strong to acknowledge it. A lot of people don't take the time to acknowledge themselves. Like they just put it all on the other person because that's the easy thing to do.
Right.
Now, may I go back to that question about the communication?
Yeah.
Communication is very, very important. Even if the parents of said child...
I'm sorry, y'all can hear my baby running around in here. Go ahead.
Even if the parents of the child or children don't want to get along. Me and Tiff weren't really getting along, but we had one thing that a lot of people didn't have. We had Trina, the peacemaker,
which is my mom,
which is your mom, and she was like really cool. And then it got to the point where if Tiff would answer the phone when I called over there, I'm like, hey Tiff, put Trina on the phone, and we would talk about whatever it needed to be talked about, like Isaiah being picked up from school, or Isaiah has a project, or Isaiah has a doctor appointment, and it worked. And then
that takes a lot of strength too. Yeah,
that's amazing.
A lot of women can't do that.
Especially
with them.
Yeah,
That's
a whole other video.
That's a whole other video.
Yeah, we're gonna dive into that too. We're gonna do another video. My mom has already said she'll do it. So, even though it's over, do you still desire the person?
No.
For you, no?
No.
No?
desire? What do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that that was just the question. Like, it could be,
do you want to
like,
do you want
do you miss? I mean, I know you probably miss them.
Yeah, I mean, me and Mars were together every day, literally so I miss him.
Yeah.
Desire? I don't think. But I miss him. I miss him.
I mean, I guess that's when you think about like everything you went through. It's like, I mean, but what lesson did you learn?
I learned I need to be at peace with myself,
Yes.
and who I am and how I am. Get to know Stacy before I try to get to know and love anybody else.
Right.
Because if I ain't right,
Right.
there's going to be that broken piece,
Mm-hmm.
that mother fracture, that father fracture, whatever it was I was going through at the time. I needed to handle that business first before I said I do, I will, or I'll try with whoever.
Right. I do, I will, or I try. Okay.
You know who I got that from? Your daddy.
Oh. Right. Right.
It's crazy. When did I learn about
What lesson did you learn? Like, what lesson did you learn about divorce?
what did I learn?
She been having married for 29
It's
years.
so long ago, I can't.
Right.
Honestly, I can't even kind of remember. But
But I feel like
but
this,
what I would
with him passing away this just in 2020,
Yeah.
it probably brought back a lot of memories and a lot of what you went through. He like
I don't know, because y'all have to know. You have to know me, and then you have to know the people that I was married to. Because really, when I look back at this whole process, Steve was a really good person. We had a whole lot of fun.
when it's different being a good person and a good husband, a good mate.
Right, that was the thing.
That
That was the thing. He was a really good person. We always had fun. He was my first love. So, and the reason that we ended up, when I left, I didn't leave mad. I wasn't mad with him. I always wanted us to be friends and talk. And when I went back to homecoming and stuff, we'd always talk. But what I actually learned from that was
I was Delta too, y'all.
yeah, but it was first of all, I was very young getting married, and so I'm trying to think. Like I'm really trying to think. What did I learn from that I could tell you guys?
I know you could probably say.
What?
Leave and cleave.
Leave
I
it
was
clean.
gonna say,
Yeah.
Because you said you didn't leave.
Now, definitely that. Definitely before you get married to someone, make sure that you're ready to be married, because.
I was gonna ask, like, what advice do you have? Because I mean, of course, I want to get married. So, like, what advice do you have for somebody that isn't married and that hasn't even tried marriage yet? Like, what do y'all suggest? Like, what's your advice?
remember that it's not about the elaborate celebration, the wedding, because
See, but I still want to wear I'm sorry.
Right. Just remember it's not
I know.
After
You know
go
me.
home, real life.
I had a
Yes.
carnival for my graduation. I'm gonna have a wedding.
Of course. That carnival was hot. But
Just daughter.
Yeah.
just remember that there's a marriage after the wedding.
Right.
Right.
Well, as part of mine, I would say as part of a lesson and advice, make sure you are right within yourself before you take on marriage. Because I know a lot of that was my part. There were things that I hadn't dealt with and things that I hadn't healed from that I needed to heal from before marriage. Because a lot of it, just with my self-esteem and just a lot of, other things that I dealt with, I needed to heal from those things because I didn't heal from them. So when we had different arguments or had different things and he would say things, it brought those memories back. So it made it 10 times worse than what it really would have been.
I always say, like, you won't always remember what a person does, but you'll remember how it made you feel.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I am very aware of myself and, like, how things make me feel. So, like, no, you ain't gonna, That's another story.
But I wanted to go back and finish that question. So, Steve was a great person, but the problem was he wanted to love me and love other people. So the lesson that I learned from this is what you see in someone when you're dating them, know that same thing goes with them into the marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And so I saw all of this. I knew all of this before I married him. But I thought because of who I am, that I could change a person. So what I learned is, no matter how great you think you are as a person or how much effort you put into it, you can never change another person. So what you see is basically what you get. So don't try to think that you're going to change a person. So, that's how we ended up getting a divorce. Yeah, it was just too much infidelity. And then I was saying, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. You getting me, I'm gonna get you back. When I started getting that spirit of get you back, and just taking myself outside of the will of God in my marriage, it's like, this is crazy. You don't stay married to somebody and live like that. And that was actually the drawing part for me leaving, was when that I started saying, I'm gonna get you back for all the stuff that I know that you did to me. I'm gonna get you back. Because if you think you can do that, then you know I can do the same thing. And when you start crossing those lines, it was a choice. Do I stay here or do I love God? I chose to love God. So I left.
And yourself. I said, love God and yourself.
Oh yeah.
And when you have a child, like children feel things, like children see things. You don't have to tell them anything. They know when something's wrong, especially with their mom. Like they feel things. So, children can understand and see the toxicity in situations, and you might not even realize it. Like, and it can be unhealthy for them too. So, anything else, Jonathan?
One thing, it may sound cliche, doesn't matter, it's the truth. Put God first in your relationship.
So true.
And I tell you, definitely, if you want to get married, marriage is wonderful.
Oh yeah.
No matter what anyone else says.
I can't stand when people be like, you want to get married? I don't know.
Marriage is good.
It is.
Marriage is
right now. This marriage is not on my mind.
Right.
And it possibly, will get there, but right now, I'm just not.
See, but you're speaking for yourself. But when other people speak to other people and say whether like, oh, you want to get married, no, you don't do that.
Well, I don't have that thought.
Yeah.
I think marriage is wonderful. It's like everything else. It's gonna have its good days. You're gonna have some ups. You're gonna have downs. But when you communicate and when you love each other and when you have God first, it works. 29 years, and I don't say this like boasting or bragging, but like super arguments. Chuck and I don't do that. We communicate. We talk. Yes. And if I was acting, and we talk about this all the time, even at church, when I first married him, because I was healing when I first married him, and I came out of a relationship that hurt me because I was so jealous. He couldn't breathe. I mean, you look at somebody and I'd be thinking, you want them. And I would act just as crazy. But if he was here, he would tell guys, he would say to them, listen, learn how to make your wife happy. Because that's what he did. He learned how to help me through the process. He helped me through the process of healing. Because I married him and I was still hurting. And he helped me heal. And that's what a relationship does.
How long did you wait to date, or before?
And no grass, dirt, nothing growing my feet.
Okay, how do you feel about? Do you feel that's wrong?
No,
do you feel that's wrong?
What's that?
That if your divorce isn't final,
That you date.
I would say whoever decides to do that, you're taking a gamble, because if someone is still married, they could easily decide to go back to their spouse.
Right.
yeah.
So it's better to wait than it is to
final.
bring someone else in and then you.
Well, I've seen people that have been divorced, like, and it's been official, and they go back and remarry that person.
Yeah.
So,
Like one of my friends,
Yeah.
her husband's parents separated years ago. His mom got remarried, had his younger sister. His stepdad passed, I want to say, probably about 3 or 4 years ago.
they got
The mom and dad are back. They got
Wow, that's
remarried
good.
after all those
Right.
years. But I thought it was funny. But
But
everybody
I
want to one lesson, make sure, I know that was a lesson that I learned, that your foundation is secure. And simple as being each other's friend.
Yeah.
And that plays a part into communication, because if you're not each other's friend, everything you say is gonna go in one ear out the other. You're not gonna take it the right way. But because the love can be there, but if your foundation is rocky, if that don't love,
It takes more than love.
it's more than love.
It takes more than love.
You can love me to the moon. I can love you to the moon. But if the respect, loyalty is not there, it's not going to work.
Right.
Yeah. Marriage is definitely more than just the love.
Yes.
Right.
It's
I love you.
it's
Yeah,
a
I love
process.
you. But it's more.
You
It's
have to
more
work
to
it. You have to definitely work marriage.
Right.
Marriage is work.
Yes, it's definitely.
But it's worth it.
Go.
Right. Okay, so that's it for this video, y'all. For anybody that is going through a divorce right now, we're praying for you. You know, like you're not alone. So I have these beautiful women here to show you that you can overcome divorce. You can make it through. You can still be beautiful afterwards. You don't have to be.
There's beauty after divorce. There's
Yes.
beauty after separation.
Yes.
It's beauty all in it.
Right.
You don't have to be bitter.
Right.
You don't have to be.
That's
You don't
right.
have to be bitter.
That's
That's,
good.
yes,
That's right.
and there's definitely beauty. So please know that if you are contemplating it, I mean, I'm not gonna say this is your sign to do. I'm not gonna say that, because you do as you please. You do what you feel is best. But don't sell yourself short. Love yourself and love God always. So that's it for this video. Y'all have anything else to say? Nope.
We enjoyed you. Thank
Oh,
you.
thank you. I'm excited because this is the first one. I have fun, so I'm glad y'all did.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. So I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.
Bye.